volume of unity. Divine light shining individually, collectively transforming community. Peace in our human family.
One love, one growth, as above, so below. Feel the pain in my soul, the red pill dissolved. Organized, no matter the cost. Politicians start wars, they don't fight, they sit the poor. And nothing lasts forever as long as we stay together. Give hell to the masses, watch the unity rapture. This is for the kids and the culture. It's one love, one growth, one light, light warriors. Hey, Drea.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Your mic sounds way better than mine, actually. I'm gonna have to get this to my face. Still haven't perfected my mic stand yet, so I had to prop it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's a lot of trial and error.
Right. So, congratulations, by the way, on completing your second season.
Thank you so much.
That is just awesome, dope. I've listened to a few of your episodes. I definitely want to talk about two of them. But before that, introduce yourself. Let people know how you got into this type of amazing podcast work, where you're from, all that stuff, your background.
Yeah. So my name's Drea. I am 29. I live in Las Vegas. I was born here actually, which is kind of rare. Everyone here is from somewhere else. I have been into really just anything creative my whole life. I've always been really into music and singing. And I kind of a few years ago discovered podcasts and just fell in love with them. And I always had the idea of wanting to start one, but then I just kind of told myself I had nothing interesting to say to do one. And I put it off for so long. And then I think all the time to myself, being in quarantine just made me kind of realize, what are you waiting for? Just do it now and jump in. So I started that in January of this year, and it's been really fun. It's been going really well. I enjoy it. And I feel like this is just another outlet for me to be creative now.
Wow. Well, yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you.
How it's what was the journey like when did you have any issues with getting people guests or anything, or were you already prepared to had a nice network of people that you can talk to and all that stuff?
So it's kind of been both. At first I did have a lot of my friends as guests, and then I also had some strangers, and then I ended up finding this really cool website that was the sole purpose is connecting podcasts and podcast guests, which really helped me out. And I ended up finding a lot of really interesting people on there. But then this season was the first time I ever kind of scrambled for guests, but that was kind of my fault because I had this last minute decision to make an API Heritage Month series and showcase API guests for the whole month. And then since I kind of last minute changed my idea, then I had to find specific guests. And I ended up, that was the first time I ended up recording, editing, and releasing all within the same week instead of being prepared and having things ready to go. Which got a little stressful, but also it was fun, being able to do that, being able to celebrate that. And yeah, I've just been able to have such a great mix of people come on.
That's dope. The trial and error process is so beautiful. That's something I'm dealing with right now. And
yeah,
such a journey and stuff like that. And
yeah, for sure.
I think that what makes it so dope is at the end of the day, after all that stress, when you come out with a great episode, you're just
yeah, especially hearing when people like it, you're oh my god, yes, that's what I wanted to hear.
Yes, exactly. I love the little tune that you got. Your intro, I freestyled to it at work.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I love it. I actually Man, it's like slipping my mind, even though I see the name every week of who made it. Yeah, I just got that off of like a website that had royalty free music, and I don't know when I heard that one, I was like, this is the one that's like jumping at me. I love it.
Wow, wow, wow. And do you have like, so are you still like recording on your own? Like, do you have like, are you working on any music projects or anything?
So I feel like I've been so focused on the podcast that the music thing, like I haven't been focused on it as much, but realizing that it is something I'm trying to jump back into. I actually just joined a band, so I hope I'm like,
Nice.
yeah, I'm really hoping that's going to give me the performance experience I need, cuz that's where like I feel like that's where I struggle. I have a lot of stage fright that I'm trying to get over.
Mm-mm. And you're a guitar player and a singer, right?
Yes, so I've mostly a singer. I do play a little guitar, a little piano, and the ukulele.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Most of
so.
like my covers and stuff I do on the uke just because it's so easy and it's really fun to do. I'm
Mhm.
trying to get more back into piano and guitar because I used to take lessons and then it's just been so long that I'm a little out of practice.
Right, right, right. Oh man, hold up. 1 second.
No, you're fine.
My thing just fell down. My charger and my laptop sucks with battery. 1 second, sorry.
You're good. You're good.
Yep, like I said, trial and error. Need
Hmm.
a better
Your
outlet.
setup looks cool though. I
Oh,
like how you
thank
got
you.
this whole like green screen thing going on for your background. I like it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, like I have a bookcase, and it's a nice bookcase, but like there's junk on it, like
Yeah.
bongs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was before like I got this whole setup over here, I was just doing it at like my work desk, my computer desk, which is on
Mhm.
the other side of the room. So then in my background you could see like my bed and my dresser and everything. And I was like, I can't do anything about this.
Right.
Yeah. And I hated it, but I was like, you know what? I gotta use what I got.
Right, you gotta use what you got, man. And
Hmm.
it's not like you can find just a studio that just graces you in the world. And
Yeah. And I was like, oh, maybe I could face a wall or something. But then like I actually only recently found out I could use this mic stand because I had this for my other mic that I use for music. And it didn't hit me till recently that this part right here to hold this type of
Mhm,
microphone detaches. So I was like, that helped me out so much. Cause I just had like a tiny little like desk stand. So if
mhm.
I didn't have a desk, I would have to hold it, which made me paranoid of like bumping it and noise and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Especially like I have like a actually wooden table, and this thing
Yeah,
is
so like when you knock it.
yeah, a little equally around here, and I just freak out. But one thing I like about this mic is like sound canceling. So like anything
Yeah,
that's
that's
like
good.
not up close to the mic, you don't even hear it unless somebody actually intentionally like tries to like smash something on the ground.
Yeah.
Like like my
Before I bought
girlfriend.
this one, before I got this one that's like actually better for like speaking and podcasts, I was using my microphone that I use for recording music and I
Mhm.
didn't realize how much background noise it picked up. And I feel like there was so much echo and just like taps and everything. So this one is definitely a lot better.
Isn't that contradictory in a way? Like they make the mics that way. Like you would think a nice studio quality music making mic should be the perfect thing for a podcast. Like,
You know, that's what I was thinking too. But then, like, when I really started to deep dive and research, it made more sense to me because when you're speaking, you only want to pick up what you're putting into it. But, like, with music, there's like the reverb, and, like, if you're playing an
yeah,
instrument while you're singing, you want all that stuff picked up. And I was like, okay, this makes sense.
right. Yeah, that does make a lot of sense actually. Yeah, the reverb is so good. That's one of my
Hmm.
favorite things to record with. And sometimes I just freak out like, oh, this is a little bit too much reverb. And then like,
Yeah.
no, 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 you're good, you're good, you're good. I'll tell you if it's too much, man. Like,
Do you do music too?
yes, yes. I'm in a band as well.
Oh, dope.
Um, I'm the rapper and the percussionist, actually.
Oh, cool. All right.
Like all the African hand drumming and the maracas, shakers. Actually, whatever is percussion,
Hmm.
I'm used. That's
That's
what
cool.
that's what I want to do. I want to like make so many different sounds and stuff. Like you'll hear like something that sounds like a freaking rainforest for 2 seconds. Like what the hell
Yeah.
is that?
That's dope though. So
Yeah.
I'm curious what made you want to start a podcast?
That's a good question. Well, outside of here, I'll do a lot of activist work
Okay.
besides working at my regular job at the hospital. Um, and I work for a nonprofit, and I have
Oh,
met
that's great.
a lot of s- different individuals, so many people in music and film, activists, all over the place. Um, so I was just like, bro, I know all these people,
Mm-hmm.
and there's so much conversations I have with them, and I'm like, I gotta get
Yeah.
in here. But
Mm-hmm.
what would be so productive, instead of like having events and stuff like that. But I'm just like, you guys are dope. You guys should like literally like be the world should know about these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I know that I only have like a few followers, but I think that it's so worth it that you guys should like share what you do, man. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
so that's why I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And my friends were my two best friends, Chris and Tim. Well, I have other best friends I grew up with, but that's a different bracket. I have two
Mhm.
brackets.
Oh yeah,
Chris
I
and
get
Tim.
that. I have that
Yeah,
too.
right. You understand? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a blessing to still be able to like hang out with people that you grew up with, because some people
Hmm.
don't get that, and the fact that I
Oh
still
yeah.
have them, it's just I'm so blessed by them. But yeah, we were thinking about making a podcast together. We're still thinking about that, and prolonged. A lot of things happen in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're all just trying to live as working class people in this world, and so I was like, what? I'm gonna start it. I'm a spearhead. I'm gonna do it, and then if we ever make another one, we'll have the basics of what was wrong and what was right, so we can
Yeah.
do better, more efficiently. So that's how it happened. That's how it
That's
happened.
cool. I like that. That's funny because actually it's kind of this almost like the same exact thing for me. Cause
Mhm.
it's you mentioned like having friends for so long that's kind of rare. Cause I have this one close group of friends that we've known each other for what it's 20, so like 11, 12 years now. Like we celebrate holidays together, like we're always, there for important events. And I feel like people are shocked sometimes when they're like, "Oh, you have friends from like that long ago and you still celebrate holidays together and stuff."
Yeah.
But two of them, the three of us were supposed to start a podcast. And like you said, like life, work, like just too many things got into the way that we ended up never doing it.
Mhm.
But now that I've done this on my own, I feel like it would be so much easier for us to still try and do it because now I have a better idea of things. I can edit to like I have the equipment now. Like we were I think trying to jump into something blindly with multiple people is so much harder than doing it by yourself because at least like you just figure things out on your own and you don't have to like nobody else gets the fallback of when things go wrong, if that
No,
makes sense.
no, they don't. And these type of things like podcasts, like and when you get into it with your friends, you know what I mean. Like it could end up like what happened. I don't know if you know who Joe Budden is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had an okay rap career, so I won't be surprised if you didn't know who he was. But he has a podcast, and he fired all his friends.
Oh, no. Yeah, I actually only know him because of his podcast. I'm not
Yeah,
like familiar with his music, but
yeah.
that's messed up.
That's what I'm saying. Like the ego gets in the way. I'm just like, dude, like, why would you do business with your friends?
Yeah. I mean,
And
it definitely takes like a certain type of understanding to be able to do business with your friends
yeah, yeah,
or with
like you
family or
really have to
anything.
be so transparent. Honestly, like you can't.
Mhm.
I don't know, but I think he taught us all a lesson about how we can execute it when we decide to do it with our friends.
Do you think so when you say you think he taught us, are you thinking you know what to do now or what not to do now?
What not?
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, cuz it's like I feel like you almost have to compartmentalize things too because you kind of have to separate your friendship from your business when you're dealing with the business. It's like you can't look over certain things just because you're friends. Like you got to deal with it. And if you are able to have that transparency, like you said, then you can be honest about not letting your friendship get in the way of the business, but also not letting anything with the business negatively affect your friendship.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
That's a balance.
Yeah.
We
And I
Americans
mean,
don't really balance like that.
because like I've never done like business with friends, but I've worked with friends in like small businesses, and even that like just got complicated.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so what made you wanted to like pick up the theme of like unpopular passion? I think that's very interesting. I have never heard of that before. Like
Thank you. So
unpopular passion.
I actually just kind of the title just kind of made it up as a play on words for unpopular opinion because it seems like, I mean, maybe not so much anymore like in today's generation, but I feel like following your passion is not the quote unquote popular route to go down. Like it's not the typical route people take. People are usually kind of stuck in that mindset of you go to school, you get a job, you keep your job till you're retired, that's your life. So for me, the title Unpopular Passion was kind of like saying this is this is a lesser chosen route that people are on, and this is how people are choosing to live their lives now. And it's funny because I actually, when I first started it, I was gonna call it Project Passion. And like thinking about it now, I'm like, oh, that sounds so cheesy. And I'm so glad I didn't do that. But I think I went and like just looked it up on like podcast apps to see if it already existed, and it did. And so I didn't want to use the same name. So I'm actually really glad about that because I don't even know how I came up with it. I just kept like playing around with words. Like
Mm,
passion was the one thing that I wanted to include in it. And I think really the idea just came from the fact that I'm surrounded by like so many amazing people in my life that are like entrepreneurs or like musicians, poets, just people doing things that you wouldn't normally expect.
mhm,
And then I've also kind of been on this journey myself for like the past year or so. I've met some people and I started being mentored by like a couple entrepreneurs. And it was the first time in my life that I was able to get out of that mindset of just the typical go to work, earn a paycheck, live paycheck to paycheck. So being able for myself to be in the mindset of, oh, I could do something else and I could live a life more free made me want to tell the stories of other people. Like you said, how you just, you know, these people and their stories need to get out there. And that's something that I love is I'm putting out the stories of like all these amazing people I know. And if someone could maybe hear it and be like, oh, well, they started out not knowing what they're doing, maybe I could, you know, do that too, take a chance and find something I love.
mm, mm. I like that. Yeah, I like that. And,
Thank
it
you.
reminds me of the episode you had with the owners of Hooky Cookie.
Yeah, it's so fun. That's like definitely I feel like one of the more popular ones.
Yeah, and I love how he was. First of all, these I could tell this couple is very like I don't like to use the term woke. I feel like that's a stupid term.
I get what
Um,
you mean. Sometimes the words that fit you feel like are cheesy or like you don't like to use.
yeah, yeah, and people use that term out of context. It's
Also
like,
true, yeah.
oh, she's woke, but she's transphobic as hell. She disrespected my trans fan, but she's
Oh
woke.
no.
Okay, like that's how
No, no,
that's
no, no.
that's the issues that I be having with these woke people.
Mm,
But it's like they're just like more conscious of like
yes,
what
that's a good one.
yeah what's going on. Like when
Hmm.
he was talking about how the homelessness issue, that's literally just because of a capitalism decides to have a homeless issue.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like I love how he gave out an idea about how they have these opportunities to build malls and stuff like that. They can do the same thing for
Yeah.
housing and homeless people, which they get billions of dollars. Like in these major cities, like in New York, De Blasio's wife is in trouble now because they're like, "Bro, where's that money we gave you to fix the homelessness? We gave you like
Hmm.
almost $1 billion." And then they also talk about how they want to also give back and not really
Yeah.
worry about wanting to be so super rich, which in myself as being like a socialist, I'm like, bro, like you just should be well off. You know, you should be able to be free and do what you want. you shouldn't want to like just become an oligarch and just get so much
Yeah.
power
Hmm.
24/7. Like the Bezos of the world should not really exist. I feel like that should be when you get so rich, you should like have co-ops now to
Yeah,
give
it's
your
to a point
workers an
like,
opportunity, you
yeah,
know?
it's like, why have so much and then not do good with it? And I've definitely, I feel like with the pandemic and everything, it made people so much more conscious of that because, like, those people weren't touched. Like, they didn't take any hits
Right.
and they still were able to monopolize more on people suffering because, like, oh, well, I have the delivery service that can bring everything to your door when you don't want to leave your house.
Right.
And it made me more conscious of now supporting small businesses. I've only
Mm,
done a couple of them so far, but I started making like little videos on my Instagram just highlighting what my favorite small businesses are because I've been trying to make sure to do that instead of going to like Amazon or anything. And
mhm.
so if I can like tell other people like, hey, this is where I go get my candles instead of like these big companies like Bath and Body Works or like Cookie too, because there's
Mm.
a huge place called Crumble. I feel like everyone's like really into right now. I'm like, well, there's this place instead that's a little bit better, and they're a small business. So I just try to highlight things like that. And yeah, I mean, those people don't need more business than they already have.
Right? Like
Mhm.
the dude has his yacht has a yacht, yo. Like
Yeah.
like it's insane, man.
Yeah. I was just reading something yesterday. I forgot where it is. It might be Ireland. I could be getting that wrong. But they had basically solved their homelessness over there because they built housing and did like a rehabilitation thing for them, like able to, learn skills and find work, and it basically solved the issue. And it's like, well, it
Wow.
clearly it's doable. We just don't do it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Like
Mhm.
even in like governments like Cuba, why they stay so detached from us because they have like a program where they make you they basically you pay 10% of whatever your income is, and that's your rent. So
Oh,
you
wow.
yeah.
I did not
And
know that.
but they people just complain about what like how the housing look like they is plumbing is everything that's standard. It's just that they're older buildings because it's colonial and plus of the embargo they haven't really had a chance to upgrade. They still have like 1960 cars that last forever, which is
Mhm.
amazing
Yeah, I
because
was
they
gonna say I
haven't
think
had a
I'd prefer
chance.
that.
Right. They haven't had a chance to trade because the United States has blocked them from being able to upgrade and be more first world like we are. And I hate using that term first world, like more developed.
Yeah,
Like,
I get what you
but
mean, yeah.
they like the Pope himself even said when I went to Cuba, there was no one homeless. And
Mhm.
the Americans went crazy. The American officials were like, how dare the Pope say some shit like that? But it's like,
I didn't know
bro,
about that, but yeah, like, I don't know, there's so many answers to things in other countries that we just choose not to be aware of and not to adapt to.
yeah, exactly. And that's why I was so happy when I was listening to that episode, I was like, yo, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And also with the nonprofit work and everything, like that's just such a big deal. I mean,
Yeah.
not all nonprofits are perfect. I work for a nonprofit and I would tell you that we have our struggles, but we try to do everything we can. Everything we
Yeah.
can, you know?
Yeah,
And
definitely gotta do your research, but, I feel like if anything, the nonprofit ones are probably the better option because just learning about so many different charities and, like, how little of the money actually goes to whatever they're supporting.
right, right.
Mhm.
And then when you hear about Los Angeles getting $1 billion to stop the homelessness, but there's still like tent cities and the locals are complaining about it. They're like, this used to be a nice beach, but now
Yeah.
all these people are here. Like it's just like, bro, like what are they doing with it? They're not
Mhm.
doing anything. They're not doing anything.
Yeah.
And okay, so this might be a segue, but I have to ask you about this because I don't like. I was trying to think of how can I put this in when we start talking about
Mhm.
homelessness. So this is so freaking random.
Okay.
Sorry.
No,
You,
you're good.
I was listening to like one of your podcast episodes about the supernatural, like this guy who's
Mm.
a medium.
Yes.
What do you think about the supernatural and all that, and just basically like being psychic to see like the other world? Because I have so many like thoughts.
I mean, I'm kind of glad you brought this up because I think it's a fun subject. And that's why I loved having him on because it's something that I've actually always been interested in since I was a kid. I don't know why, but like I always just found it so fascinating. And I even remember like me and my brother and my cousin used to pretend to like go ghost hunting and stuff when we were kids. Like we were so into those shows. And I'll admit, like, there's a huge part of me that is like a little scared of that stuff because it's like opening up unknown things.
Right.
And I don't know, speaking to Jock, it just I didn't have like any doubts about him when I met him and when I spoke to him. Like nothing about him and the way he is made me think like, oh, he's lying, this is fake, whatever. Cause I definitely do think there are a ton of people out there who just lie and pretend and try and scam people out of money for sure. But I do also think there are some people that are legit and they really do have those abilities. And I don't know, it's like it's something that I find fascinating, but it's also something I would never mess with.
Mm.
Because also like part of I'm half Filipino and there are
Oh,
a lot,
word.
yeah, there are a lot of like Filipino lores and like things, like stuff about supernatural. And my mom has told me because my mom grew up there. She came to the US when she was 18 and she has told me so many stories just about like family members we have too that are able to see things or like experiences she's had.
Mm,
And I feel like there's just too much in this world in general that we can't
mm,
explain for it not to be some truth to it.
mm, mm, mm. Right, right. And what were the things that you spoke with Jock that resonated with you to fully feel convinced? Because when I was listening, I definitely did feel convinced. At first, I
Mhm.
was like, no, this guy's bullshit." But then
Yeah.
after hearing him, I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
okay."
I mean, I think definitely one thing that stood out to me was, when asking him like how he found out about it or like how he realized he could do this stuff, like I kind of liked how he he was saying he's like, "Well, I speak to other people and they always have this like, oh, well, I had this big awakening moment." He's like, "That is not how it happened for me." He's like, he's like, "I was at church and I saw a priest and I didn't know what to do and I ignored it and I just never did anything about it again." And I
That's
think
freaking scary.
yeah, I think his story was so interesting to me too because of him growing up so religious and like wanting to live a religious life. And religion is somewhat a contradictory to like paranormal things. Like I feel like in one way it is, in one way it isn't, because people who are religious do believe there's like a higher power and like in spirits in another realm, however you want to put it. And but I do think when it comes to seeing things like that, it is a little bit of like a taboo. And so it's interesting hearing him like starting out living that life and then kind of suppressing his ability to see and like deal with things like that.
Mm, mm. Yeah, it was a very chilling listening to that, and then I had to research into him after that, because I'm one that definitely believes. But I was like you as well too. I was like ghost hunting with my friends, stuff like that, when I was
Yeah.
younger and stuff, and we saw some craziness with like a like an infrared camera and stuff, but people were
Oh,
debunking
you had
this
like legit equipment.
by accident. We didn't buy
That's
nothing.
cool
It just
though.
so happened that my friend Eli, he had the camera, and I was like, "Bro, how the hell you get this shit?" He was like, "I don't
Mhm.
know." It's like, my dad had it. It was like, "All right, let's use this."
Yeah, like let's use it to the advantage. Why not?
And we went to like a cemetery, and that was crazy. uh,
What'd you see?
well, it wasn't something like a apparition, like just straight up like, "Hey, what's up, bro? I'm right here
Yeah.
chilling, man." Like,
Yeah.
it was just that, like, there was one part where there was a tombstone, and you could see like the head, like something like shaped like a head, like how when you're like peeking through the corner or something like that,
Mhm.
or like peeking
Oh,
around. Yeah. So like it was like that. It was like he was like peeking, he or she or they them whatever. They was
yeah.
like peeking over
Oh,
over
that's
the
scary.
tombstone, and I was the one that caught that at first, and I was looking around like, yo, one of you motherfuckers better not be behind this tombstone.
Was
I
it something
was
you could only see on camera?
only see on camera,
Okay.
yes, and it was infrared, so it was like a little cold. I
Yeah.
can't really explain the colors. I'm 29 years old, so that was like 10 years ago, and I smoke a lot of
Mhm.
weed, so I can't really explain.
I know what you mean though, just because I do watch like a lot of those shows and stuff. So I get like, I understand what you were seeing.
Yeah, and then we had EVP, one EVP, because I'm from Connecticut and I grew up in Bridgeport, which is like Fairfield County, and Fairfield County was known for a lot of well, women that basically, for my opinion, it was women that basically had strong individuality and they didn't let no man tell them shit, and they're like,
Yeah.
"You're a witch,"
So
so
they
they
must be
executed
witches.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, because that's how I felt when I started reading about like Goody Nap or Goody Bassett. I was like, oh, it sounds like she was just a woman with an opinion.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of like what those whole witch trials were. It's just like women who didn't want to conform.
Oh yeah, and like I asked if she was there. I went to like where she supposedly was murdered at, well executed at, and there
Mhm.
was a voice that said she is not. And I was like,
Oh,
what
that's
the?
weird. That's even weirder though.
I
It's
ran.
it's weirder than her being like yes, like to hear someone else say no.
Yeah, yeah. And people were like debunking me, saying, "Oh, you probably heard some radio frequencies or something." Like, bro, they literally answered me. This is an intelligent. This is not a residual.
Yeah, that's a thing too. Like I heard just because I watch like so many different types of those shows, um you always hear those like voice boxes and things and they'll say like one word, two words, whatever. And then I'll like hear another show that says, well, if it's not, at least three words like in succession, then it's probably nothing. It's probably radio waves or whatever. But I feel like there's like it how do you know? There's no way to know. Like they could all be real, they could all be fake. We don't know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I would never mess with those boxes. I couldn't
Yeah.
have that around.
The only thing so, here in Vegas with, like, some of the older hotels, there are a lot of, like, ghost stories of, like, old mob gangsters and stuff that are supposedly left around. So that
Oh,
was, like,
wow.
one thing, a friend of mine did. I think we were, like, 16, so this was forever ago, but it was, like, right when we were able to drive, we were like, "Let's go try and ghost hunt, like, around the hotels," and the only thing we had was a tape recorder, but we couldn't even I mean, we were kids, and we couldn't even get up to the hotel floors without being a guest in the hotel, so it was a big fail, nothing happened.
Oh, wow, wow. Which hotels are still around there? If you
So
know
the only,
offhand.
like, original ones, there's one called Bally's on the Strip. I'm pretty sure that's been there forever. Circus has
Mhm.
been there a long time. Those are the 2 that we went to that had stories of, like, certain floors. People would say they had, like, ghosts of, like, old mobsters. And then there are the casinos downtown Las Vegas, which is, like, the old Strip. There's El Cortez and Binion's, I believe, are, like, the old ones, but the rest I are like it's getting really new down there. There's like demolition and stuff is very common in Vegas. They don't keep a lot of old
Mhm,
stuff. So
mhm.
they get rid of things all the time.
Oh, wow, wow. That's really dope that there's still some type of history there. You know.
A little bit, yeah. One thing that's really cool that I like that I haven't been to yet is the neon graveyard. So they have all the original neon signs from the old casinos just in one place so you can go and
Oh,
like look
wow.
at it and take pictures. Yeah, it's really cool.
Oh, that's dope.
Mhm.
I need to go to Vegas. I haven't been there. Haven't been anywhere near the West Coast. Always been in the South or upper New England, which is it's crazy haunting around here. My grandmother has so many stories. We're black, but she was also half Native American from the Saponi tribe in the Great Plains, um, Virginia and North Carolina.
Mhm.
Um, so I mean, she unfortunately she was detached from her tribe, so she never actually got a chance to understand what Saponi tribe life is like.
Mhm.
Um, and her mother died before I ever got to meet her, so I never got a chance to ask questions.
Yeah.
But she had so many stories. Like she said that she saw apparitions. Like she saw apparitions over my mother's crib. She saw
Mm.
apparitions walk past the train station in Bridgeport, because apparently there was this other Latino guy who was he was drunk driving, and then
Oh,
he
shit.
like parked on the rail without noticing, and the car came
Oh
and
my
not car
god.
train came and
Train.
decapitated him. Yeah, so she like
Wow.
saw his headless apparition later on.
That's
Um,
crazy.
so many stories. Like she
I
freaked me
believe
out.
that so much though, because I feel like Native Americans just have this kind of deeper connection and intuition that I could see that like making her more aware of things like that.
Right.
And yeah,
She was
I'm
very spiritual. Very.
I'm a Native American as well. So I'm Native
Oh,
American,
awesome.
Mexican, and Filipino. But
Nice.
same thing for me. Like I don't have any connection with that side of my family, so unfortunately, I don't like know about what tribe I'm from and like know the origins. That's something I
Hmm.
am trying to find more about on my own.
Hmm.
Mhm. But I'm just
Well,
not really sure how.
yeah. How I found was I found out from just stories, but mostly what confirmed was her last name. Apparently, there's like a certain tribes still have like a register of like last names that you
Oh,
can
okay.
yeah go for. Yeah, yeah. And they what's interesting about the Saponi tribe is that they were one of the only tribes that weren't forced to convert to Christianity. They actually wanted to be Christian.
Hmm.
And so like they were like, one of the most biggest Christian Native American populations to this day.
Oh, wow.
Uh, yeah, and that's another thing about my grandma. She was so fucking Christian. She was Christian as hell. My parents are Christians, so I'm the son of a pastor, as you can tell. Like
Oh, wow. Okay.
preacher kids are bad kids.
Do you think that comes from just like kind of growing up feeling restricted?
Oh, hell yes, without a doubt. You know, I was one of
That's
those kids that
understandable.
had to pray to go to a concert. My dad was like, "Oh, you're going to this concert? You better pray first."
Wow.
It was very strict. Secular,
I
they called everything secular music that wasn't Christian music. It was like, don't
Oh,
listen
wow.
to that secular music.
Yeah, I grew up religious, but not like that bad. Well, like not that constricted, I mean. But my family's Catholic, and I mean, really the only thing for me was like we just had to go to church every week, and then we would pray the rosary every night at 6 p.m. But like other than that, I never felt like it was like really pushed on me or like super constricted by it. But then now as an adult, I definitely question a lot of it.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And I try not to be so like what's the word I'm looking for? Like mean about it. Like
Mhm.
I get into arguments with some people that are Christian, but I try so hard to be respectful. I try so
Yeah.
hard. I do. But it's just like, bro, like you're trying to tell me to live my life and I'm
Mhm.
good the way I am right now.
Yeah, there's so many things about religion that I feel like are just so hypocritical and like contradictory, and it's like I would never get into a conversation with someone and disrespect your religion. Like that's your
Mhm.
belief, that's what you have. There are just things that I don't agree with. And like even now, I still go to church, I still pray, but
Oh,
there are
really?
just
Nice.
some things that like some things about religion I don't agree with in any way. I mean, specifically the biggest one, homophobia.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
but then I have been kind of telling myself like why can't I still like have my faith and have my religion and not feel the need to go by it word for word like every little
Right.
thing, because I mean, I don't think it should be that way. Like I should be able to interpret it in my own way.
Right. And I really don't think God is like that. Honestly, I feel like
Exactly.
all that is written by man, and
Mhm.
there's gay churches out right now. Like in New Haven,
Yeah.
there's a lot of gay churches in New Haven, and I like to like hang out with them because, of course, that's the squad, and it's just a very beautiful. Oh, by the way, one of the gay churches, you know the show Grace and Frankie.
Yes, I love that show.
So the father, the skinny father, he goes
Mhm.
to the church there in New
Oh,
Haven.
cool.
Like, yeah, I'm so nervous. I want to go there one day just to see him, but I feel like that's just the wrong reason to go to church.
Yeah, I feel yeah, I get it.
Like,
Yeah,
hey,
I was in Nashville and just like walking down the street with my friend, and there was like a big church, and they had a pride flag on the side, and they were like, all are welcome here. And I was like, that to me is so rare to see, and I love that.
Yeah, yeah, it is dope. I like how this, like right now, we're seeing a lot of acceptance, and it's just becoming a lot of arguments and stuff like that on Facebook. But it gotta definitely like just ignore them. Don't give them
Yeah.
the time of day because that's what they want. They don't want to like. They don't want to talk about it. They just want to bash it.
Yeah,
And
exactly. It's like if you're not gonna have an open mind coming into this conversation, then it's not a conversation. And I don't want to hear you talk at me.
you're right. You're
Mhm.
basically just talking at me, and like I'm one of those kids that realized that he was queer when I was like 7 years old, and that just freaks parents out. They're like, "What?"
Yeah, and see that's the thing too. Someone I know yesterday posted on his Instagram page. He posted a picture of like him as a child, and he said, "If you don't want gay kids, don't have kids." And
I
he
love
was like, if you know that people are freaking out that there's like gay characters and things are like, oh, we're exposing children to this. It's like, do you know, if I'm pretty sure if you would ask anyone in the LGBTQ plus community, they figured this out a long time ago.
Mhm.
And if anything, having those influences might have made them more comfortable instead of
Right.
sitting there trying to suppress themselves and trying to pretend that this isn't happening or this isn't real because they
Mhm.
think it's wrong.
I think it's a really beautiful thing, honestly. Like,
Hmm.
because that there's so much straight PDA and sexual content that you could just easily have at your grasp
Yeah.
online, and it's just like it's just basically it's like, bro, like, come on now, like you're like, oh, you're gonna turn my son gay, like he watches all that.
Yeah,
Like,
the fact that people think like you can be turned gay, like that just
yeah,
already shows how little education there is about any of this, or not even education, just awareness.
right. And so many stories, like, because I have sat down in rooms now with kids that were like me when I was younger, and they're out. They're even like fighting and defending so hard, and I was that kid that was just like, I just need to keep girlfriends,
Yeah, like, oh,
so no one knows.
this is not what I've seen. This is not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, like I was just
Mhm.
so freaky, I was so scared, and I didn't come out till
Yeah.
like I was like my early 20s, and I was so mad at myself for just like hiding for so long and being
Mhm.
depressed and stuff. But these kids today, man, these kids are just they're showing us adults how it goes, honestly.
Yeah,
They
to be
really
able
are.
to see someone so young just like so unapologetically be themselves is a really beautiful thing to see.
It really is. If I have kids, I hope my kids are like that because I would be so proud of them. I'll
Yeah.
be out there at the school like, yeah, get your homophobic ass out of here. My child's gonna do her the hell they want.
Yeah, we definitely need more of that representation to make people more aware because the fact that it's like so it still is like taboo to like see that in mainstream media and things. And have
Mhm.
you watched Schitt's Creek?
No, but I've heard about it. It's on my list. I have so many shows to watch.
Such a good show.
Oh
But the
yeah.
thing that like about that show that so many people love is that there is, a gay character as the main character, or he's like pansexual. He never like specifically says it. I think he says pansexual. But the thing that like about that show is like when he gets into a relationship, there is absolutely no kind of big deal about it. It's not like a huge arc of the show. Like it's not this big revelation. It's just like it's just
Mhm.
another relationship. And that's how it should be.
Right.
And it's
Right.
funny because like there would be times because like they own a store together, him and his boyfriend, and there would be times where they would be like in the store kissing and someone would walk in and my like internal reaction was, oh my god, someone's going to say something, someone's about to freak out, like
Hmm.
just because that's what we always see. Like it's always meant to be this big deal instead of just something that is normal, which it is. And it's like so sad that that was my automatic thought process was like, oh, here's where it's going to blow up, or like, here's where someone's going to make a big deal or be homophobic.
Right.
And yeah, so that's like something that resonates with so many people about that show is like, oh, this is how the world should be.
Right.
It's just a normal thing. It is what it is. And nobody makes a big deal about it.
Right, right. I so agree with that. I need to watch that show now.
It's so good.
Just-
Yeah.
I'm
It's
still trying to
hilarious.
watch Handmaid's Tale right now, and
I have been told by a couple of my cousins to watch it, and I don't know, the storyline just sounds so weird to me, and I don't think I want to watch it.
it's insane. Like the only reason why I'm watching it is because my partner at the time, right now, who's actually my girlfriend, and my parents are so happy that I'm dating a girl now, which is so weird. They're trying to be in my life. It's so weird,
It's the
but like she was
it's the
trying to get
the
me into it.
normality.
Yeah, right, the normality. They probably like shouted when they found out that I was dating a girl now. They were like,
Yeah.
I don't know
Oh
what it's like
man.
because they're in North Carolina and we're like hundreds of miles away from each other. But I noticed that they were like trying to be more inclusive in my life now after that. But it doesn't change anything, Dad. I still like men too, so you don't have to
Exactly,
play.
yeah.
But
Just
yeah,
because
Handmaid's
this is
Tale is
easier
like
for
a
you to
lot.
digest.
Oh, it's just a little easier. Like it's not like a nice strong Coke where you gotta be like, oh boy, it's some water, it's some water. But no, that water got color in it.
Yeah, it doesn't change anything.
Great. But yeah, Handmaid's Tale is definitely something it took me some time to get into because I was just so shocked. Like she loves it, and it took me a while to get into it. After like season 4, when all the shockness just becomes like, all right, time to whoop some ass. That's when I was like, okay, I can get into this.
That's a
But
lot of seasons of being
I,
shocked.
God, it's deep. Drea, it's
Yeah,
deep.
I don't know. The whole thing sounds kind of scary to me, to be honest.
It's so deep. Well, let me. I got one more thing to talk to you about.
Okay.
I don't want to take your time, and
No,
I
you're
have to go
fine.
to work in like 30 minutes. I want to
Okay.
make sure I'm prepped for that. Um, I love the conversation that you had on fashion. I can't think of her name right now. I just listened to this podcast. Her name is
Um,
Olivia
Lena, if it's fashion, it
Lena.
was Lena. Yeah.
Yes, and you guys were talking about manifesting. Now,
Mm-hmm.
that's a very um, deep conversation to have. A lot of
Yes.
people take it negatively. A lot of people take it positively. Um, and I don't even know what side I've had, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like on both sides. Like I understand like the working class perspective is like, bro, this is where we're at, and these fucking oligarchs are trying to take our shit away. But I also get the side of like, I'm not gonna let them try to keep me in this box.
Yeah.
I want to I want to continue to do what I can to provide and help out. And I do think that that type of mindset does manifest in a way. But I do also understand if somebody's like, well, this is what I went through or stuff like that. But I do also like how you guys mentioned, like, just thinking about the negativity 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
And mental health is such a big deal in this
Yeah,
country.
for
And
sure.
it's not even addressed at all properly.
Definitely.
But I do think manifesting is should be a part of an education to help that kind of like that kind of mindset, that kind of drive.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciated the dialogue that I was hearing from
Thank you.
that episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so as far as like my take on it, I don't know if I would quite agree with you on like making it part of an education just because I feel like if you are not ready for it, then it can affect you negatively. Because like just thinking of I know someone who, she knew I was really into it, came to me to talk about it, and it's so easy to let it turn you off and you're like, "Oh, this isn't working." And like, "Oh, I try to do this and it's not working for me." And it could make you think more negatively if you are not, fully embracing it. And I definitely think that's something people need to come into in their own time because like if it's not something you believe in, it's not going to work for you and that's okay. And I feel like if you don't discover it on your own, then it really wouldn't work for you. Because I definitely have a friend who like does not believe in it whatsoever. And that's fine. And I would never try to push it on him because if he already isn't open to it, it's not going to work for him.
Right.
And so for me, the way I like to explain it to people who kind of reject the idea is like I think people like to think of it too much of like a magic thing, like, oh, just because I want it, I'm going to get it, whatever. And that's not really the way I look at it. The way I look at
Mhm.
it is getting what you put out into the world.
Mm.
So, of course, if you're thinking negatively and you're dwelling on the bad things, that's what you're going to get. But if you open up your mind more, think more about the positive things, or focus on the things that you want in your life rather than the things that you don't want, then your perception opens up to be able to receive those things. And yeah, I think it's more of just like a feeling of making yourself happy and choosing to focus on the good things rather than focusing on the bad things. And I've actually had a lot of people, well, I've had one person particularly tell me that after he was on my podcast, my friend Alex, he's like, after being on your podcast, it was just things just started going up from there. Like he started doing more projects. Like he got featured in a magazine. He was like, your episode started it off. And then how you brought up Hooky Cookie, they have just like blown up so much lately. Like got a
That's
commercial
so awesome.
kitchen. Yeah. And like started doing all this stuff. And for me, it's not like I don't feel like, oh, being on the show, like put them, any of them. I don't feel like that, is what put any of them out. To me, what it is that they put their intentions out into the world and they were focused on the things that they want. And, being on the podcast, they were able to speak deeply about the things they want and the things
Mm.
they're reaching for. And then
Right.
now, like, all these things are happening. And with Lena, too, like, I've just been seeing her do so well with everything she's doing.
Right. Right. And that's so awesome. That's so
Hmm.
awesome because I really feel like that. Like if because for me, like when I first I moved out of my parents' house at a young age, like I guess 20. I was 20
Hmm.
years old. Um, and I didn't know what the hell I was thinking to do that. Oh my god, I
Yeah.
was working like 4 3 jobs and stuff, and there was just so much pressure, and I almost got evicted a few times and all that stuff like that. And here I am at 29, and now I finally have like a stable income. I'm just thinking like the mindsets that have
Hmm.
changed,
Yeah.
the progress and the mental health that I had to work on the just to get there. And
Hmm.
I think about manifesting as being some type of tool that I grew into learning to like make me
Definitely.
think be to make me be that way.
Hmm.
Um, because now it's like 24/7. Like, yeah, I have sleep acne and I just can't sleep because I'm thinking about, oh, did I contact this guy? Oh,
Yeah.
did La Boguita get their checks? Or oh, wait, do we have enough funding for this? Where's the money? Money.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, like back in the day, like when I was younger, it's just, bro, I was just like, "Ah, why am I here? I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a part of
Yeah.
this. I hate him. Why am I still involved with this man? Like all these
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
and I never had time to like work.
I had a lot of mental health struggles myself. And I feel like if I wouldn't have worked on that and worked on myself prior and then trying to like think this way, I would have been the same way. Like, oh, that's not real. That doesn't work. Like, whatever, whatever. And I mean, I understand that too, because, I've been on that side.
Yeah.
And it's like how you were saying about, understanding the side of the working class. It's not to say that this is, the magic fix all and it doesn't take work, because it takes the work you put into it for sure. It's just, a different way of looking at things and believing in what you can have and what you can do, I
Mm, mm. Wow. Yeah, this is dope, Dre. I need to get you back on here one day.
think. Thank you. Yeah, I'm down, definitely. This was
Like
so much fun.
oh yeah, at first I didn't even know. I was like, I don't even know her. Like, how
That's
is
how
this
I have felt
conversation?
so many times. Yeah, because especially lately doing it with so many strangers, I'm just like, I hope this goes well. What am I going to say? And I feel
Right.
like for me at least, I've learned to just let it flow, because my first couple episodes when I tried to plan it too much, I don't think I let it flow enough, and I was too much in my head of like, what am I going to ask? What am I going to say? How am I going to do this?
Hmm.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing. Your podcast is definitely dope. It's entertaining.
Thank you
I
so much. I
wish you
really appreciate
so
that.
much. You learn
Thank
so
you.
many jewels, so many gems, and I like it. How like I like how there's so many. It's like it's a different type of conversation. You know.
Hmm.
So there's so much more information. Like I'm definitely gonna keep tuned in and everything. When is your season? Are you planning your season 3 debut, or are you still in the works on that?
Yes. Yeah. So season 3 will come out. Sorry, let me look at my calendar real quick. Season 3 will premiere on July 4th. Oh, that's an accident, but 4th of July.
Oh, awesome. That's
Yeah.
dope. That's dope.
But I really
Definitely.
appreciate it. Thank you so much. And also thank you for doing all that work beforehand and like having all this from the show to talk about. I really appreciate that.
Well, I like to investigate.
Same.
Right now, I have this kid that I don't even know like has music out and stuff. Now I'm having a few music people hitting me up and stuff, and I'm just like, bro, I don't want to be mean and be like, if your music's trash, I don't want you on here. So I'm just trying to like make
Yeah, that's
sure
one
that
thing I'm like, I was careful about too. Like at first, I was like, I should just take anyone who wants to be on. And then I was like, that I don't, if it doesn't match up, it doesn't match up.
yeah, it gotta match. Gotta match.
Mhm.
I had some people from Africa on here. I was like, oh my
Oh,
god, yes.
cool. That's dope.
Yes. Well, I don't. Well, I gotta go, but thank you
Yes.
so much, Drea, and
Thank
love to have
you
you back on. Definitely send me your links so I could put them in like the descriptions.
for sure.
I believe I have your Instagram link and your Spotify link. That's all. That's it, right? Actually, to come to think about, is that
I
the
mean, I have a couple others. I could email them to you.
okay? Word. Definitely,
But
definitely.
thank you so much for having me on. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you, and you have a very blessed day.
You too. Thank you.
Collectively transforming community, peace in our human family, volume of unity, divine light shining individually, collectively transforming community, peace in our human family.
One love, one growth, as above, so below. Feel the pain in my soul, the red pill dissolved. Organized, no matter the cost. Politicians start wars, they don't fight, they sit in the poor. And nothing lasts forever as long as we stay together. Give hell to the masses, watch the unity rapture. This is for the kids and the culture. It's one love, one growth, one light. Light